Maestro, this is a really weird concert season we have now. What do you think?
Well, I think it's great that you're still doing concerts because in my country, it's almost impossible at the moment. And I think it's wonderful that the Czech Philharmonic, being a salaried orchestra, is making music. Of course, it's tragic that there's no audience, no live audience, and especially in this wonderful hall, the Rudolfinum, which is one of the great halls in the world. And it grieves me terribly that there's no audience. But I think it's marvelous that there's an opportunity to reach beyond to a television audience. And I just think this is a good program for a television audience. It's all Czech music. It's really original, full of different moods, colors, atmospheres, 3 different periods in historical terms. And it's lovely for me to come back to the Czech Philharmonic. It's always been a favorite orchestra of mine, and I haven't been here for 10 years. I did a lot of work 10 years ago with them. I took them to Salzburg. We did Jenůfer of Janáček. I took them to the proms in London, the BBC proms, and we did Martinů, Janáček, Voříšek. I always loved Czech music, and one of my mentors was Sir Charles Mackerras. I believe they appointed me as the Mackerras seat or conducting seat here with the Czech Philharmonic. So I'm very happy to, in honor of him and my affection for the orchestra, to be here again.
One might say, well, for a conductor, it's not such a big deal if there's no audience. He's anyway turned to the orchestra. So do you forget about the empty hall?
Not at all.
No.
Do you know, one of my first memories when I started conducting at the proms, and I was only 22 or 23 when I did it, and you know how it is in the Albert Hall, you have the prommers right by you, and I had this feeling of their breath on my back of my legs, so close, and it's a wonderful sensation when you have got an audience really close to you. You feel them breathing with you. It's not the same. I mean, musicians are strange people, aren't they? I mean, an orchestra walks onto a stage and they hardly look at the audience, and they sit down and they play and they do their job. Most orchestras. Some orchestras are more friendly and greet the audience, and some conductors talk to the audience even, which I think is good. And I question very much whether after this COVID crisis, when it's all over, whether we will ever get back to exactly the same as before, or whether there will be a different type of dynamic, a different type of synergy between musicians and audiences before. So this is good practice.
You are quite a fan of Czech music.
That's
right. So you have chosen Voříšek and Martinů. It was your choice.
Yes.
Yeah. And today we have the very rare opportunity to listen how the conductor approaches the piece which we are going to hear. So is there something special about La Jolla you would like to mention?
Yes, La Jolla is based in California, and it was commissioned by them from Martinů. Martinů was then living in America, and he was homesick. He wanted to come back, and he was already falling out with the politicians under the communist regime. And he is assimilating so much of the American culture, of jazz, of blues, of neoclassical music, Stravinsky, Prokofiev, the Russian composers, but you feel that he's balancing all these different influences, French influences, Czech, Moravian influences, and the influence of 20th century jazz. And it's a very appealing piece in the sense it's got very good surface interest that you can immediately pick up on. But the slow movement is really deeply moving, I find. It's somebody who is pained not to be in his homeland, full of nostalgia.